Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the National Parents Union Presents Speak Your Truth with yours truly, Vivett Dukes. It's a pleasure to be here this evening with you. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you have had a restful weekend. I certainly did. It was lovely. And, we're still in our pandemic. We're still sheltering in and just being mindful about where we go and when we go and who we're around, but um, still managing to have fun, still thinking about what the future holds. As you know, I'm an educator, so this is back to school time, but it feels anything but the traditional, like the traditional back to school time. So I am, worried in some cases about that. In some regards, rather, I am concerned, but just trying to make the best of it. And I would encourage all of you, just whatever situation is going on, just try to make the best of it and know that it's not always going to be like this. I've been telling myself that a lot lately, like this too shall pass mantra. So I offer that to you this evening to know that this too shall pass. It's not always going to be this way, and things will improve in life. So tonight I am segue from that introduction. I was getting deep on y'all. Tonight I have the pleasure of having a conversation with really a young person that I like a whole lot. I've just gotten to meet her over the last few months. She's one of the producers for this show. Her name is Jada Bowler, and I would like for her to come out and talk with us this evening. Hi, Jada.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Look at you, so beautiful. Look at that smile.
Thank you. Thank you. You
You
are
look
so sweet.
great. Braids popping. Come on, black girls rock.
Thank you. You
Look
are
at
so
you.
sweet. Oh my goodness, you crack me up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. I do appreciate it.
I'm happy to have you. I've been wanting you to be on the show for a while.
You have, and I've been nervous to come on. I'm like,
So like
what am I talking about?
because
I'm
we
like,
have our conversations like when we're getting ready for the show, and I tell my husband or whomever I'm around, like, I really like that young lady, like she's very vibrant. Even the last show I was so tired, and as soon as you came on, you're just so bright and vibrant, and you had me laughing, and all my tiredness just left me. So you're such a bright shining star. Thank
thank
you.
you so much. That is so
Well,
sweet. I really do. And like I was telling you, like you guys have no idea how much I appreciate just being a part of National Parents Union and having this opportunity of being a producer and meeting so many people that you guys have on. Like it's phenomenal truly, and just making those connections and growing and expanding, especially as a young woman being my age, and just having this opportunity is just mind blowing, especially when essentially you don't have every single like accolades, or just like the ability to you know execute certain things. Like I don't have the paper behind me saying that I'm a media producer, you know what I mean? So just having this opportunity to open this door and expand from here and have an experience and be able to go forward from that, it's amazing. And I always tell you guys how grateful I am, because I really am.
yeah,
So
that's what it's about. As an educator, we hear a lot about the achievement gap, but there's not an achievement gap. There's an opportunity gap, and because opportunities are not the same for all children, all young people, all humans, that's why we see it seems like some people are just getting so much further ahead, and
yeah,
others, like, what are they doing? It's like, no, you
right.
have the skills, you might not have the paper yet, but you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so
What are some of the other shows that you help produce?
So I do Dr. Anjali. I do she does the oh my goodness, I can't think of like the name of her show, but I do her. I do
Yeah, she's on Friday night, right?
yes,
Friday.
on Friday
Yep.
nights.
Hmm.
And then Mary Soul, like it's the same show. Mary Soul and Dr. Anjali is just Mary Soul does Mondays and Wednesdays, and Dr. Anjali does Fridays. And I have that show with them. I have my mom's show. She does oh my goodness, For some reason, my mind just went blank. I cannot think of the
What
names
show?
of these shows. I know it's The Parent Effect is my mom's show. I do yours. I do Bernita's. I do Tashir. So I do have a couple different shows that I do produce, and it's been amazing. Like it's just been such a blessing. It really has.
So you mentioned your mom and your mom's show. Now, I knew about your mom. For those of you who don't know, Jada's mom is Kelly Williams Bowler. Am I saying your last name right? Bowler?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. That's the way I pronounce it. I mean, my family's from Alabama, so they say bowler, like, like a polar bear. They say bowler, but I just say bowler.
Oh, okay. So I actually knew about your mom before I met her. Some of the viewers, you may or may not be aware, in the early 2000s, I think it was 2012,
Yeah,
or
11, 12. Yep.
11, 12, Kelly Williams Bowler in the state of Ohio was charged and convicted for allegedly defrauding the educational system by enrolling her children, of which Jada is one, in a school district using her father's address, not her own address, although she did spend time at her father's home and it was a familial residence. The powers that be saw fit to charge her. They wanted to ask her to pay back a certain amount, or demanded that she pay back a certain amount for fees, tuition, essentially, for living out of district. She refused because she did not think that she'd done anything wrong, because ultimately she was advocating for her daughters. The school district where they lived was, I'll just say it, it was piss poor. It's nowhere where she would send her children. And so she made a way out of no way, which many parents do, many mamas do. I know I do. I have had to. As a single mother in my life, raising my children was very challenging. And so that's how I found out about your mom. She was sentenced to, I believe, 5 years in prison, and they reduced her, and the judge reduced her sentence where she ended up serving, I think, 10 or 9 days. But there is still that record, and she became national news, because I'm not in Ohio, but I knew about her case. There was another woman in Connecticut at that time, forget her name, but Gwen Samuels, she brought her case to my attention. And so I knew of your mother by reading about her, and then I met her, but didn't know that that was the woman. Yeah. So all along I had been reading, and I'm like, this is horrible. Look what they're doing to her. That's wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. Like, no, that's, if there weren't inequities in education, she wouldn't have to go to those extremes. And then when I met her, and I still didn't make the connection, Jada. And it wasn't until she was giving a speech, she was being introduced to get up and speak. And then when they started to tell her story, I was like, oh, that's the lady.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So that's part of your life. That is your life.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of my life, because when all of that was happening, I was 10 or 11. And mind you, when I went to the schools, I was in second and third grade, third or fourth, sorry. Okay. I was in third and fourth grade. So by the time they decided to send my mom the indictment, I was well out of the school. By the time everything blew up, I was in middle school. So from third and fourth grade to sixth, seventh, eighth grade, and this is all happening from a school that we had been out of for a long time. I believe my mom said 18 months we had already been out of the schools when she got the indictment. I'm the youngest. My mom only has 2 girls. So I was still pretty young. I didn't really understand everything. And I still sometimes don't understand the fullness of it, because my mom, she doesn't like to really go back down that path, because she did lose her father behind it, my grandfather. A lot happened.
Inform the viewers. So this literally robbed Kelly not only of Mrs. Williams Bowler, not only of her own freedom. Yeah. The powers that be, when they were the school district in Ohio, where they weren't satisfied with the punishment that she received, they decided to target her elderly father. I'm getting upset just talking about it. Yeah. They went after her elderly father, and they convicted and incarcerated him, and then he ended up dying in prison
Yeah. Yep.
for
They.
helping his family, for doing what a father does, supporting his daughter and children to help her to get ahead in life.
Yeah.
And that was the price that she paid. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to talk about it either. And may your grandfather rest in peace. And I mean no disrespect by bringing it up
No,
at
no,
all.
no, no. You're fine. You're completely fine. My grandfather was amazing. I
Oh,
would say that much. He was. Ooh, you making me emotional. I love it. I called him Papa. We all called him Papa. That was his name. So my Papa was my life. That was, oh my gosh. I just love him so much. But anyways, so losing him was detrimental. Oh my goodness, the amount of time that we spent there
mhm.
was every day. Like, I don't remember a day that went by. It felt like we lived there. Like, of course, my mom, we lived in what our town was, or our city is Akron. The area that we lived in was Akron, but the area that my grandfather stayed in was Copley. And the amount of time that we stayed there growing up, it was essentially, we lived there. We had our own bedrooms. Me and my sister had our own bedrooms. That's how often we were there. Like, so anyhow, I digress. But it's just, we spent so much time there that, again, I did not understand what was happening. I didn't understand why this was happening, because to me, that was home. That was my second house. That was where I lived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a hard time for me, not just with that, but also with school. Going back to school, just the harsh things. Kids are mean, like
Uh-oh.
middle school especially, or like, I know some older people call it junior high. Junior high is treacherous. Oh my gosh, like, just the be like, I remember, just I would get in trouble because other kids would want to argue with me and just fight with me about my mom and just say like horrible things. I remember one young man specifically, I ended up getting in trouble. I had to go home because one man specifically said, "Isn't your mom?" Okay, so apparently okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Akron has Akron Beacon Journal. So in Akron Beacon Journal, that's our newspaper. There is a part, mind you, never heard of this before because I was a kid. What do I need to know about this for? It's where you see who was arrested that week. And it's called Busted, like Busted paper or whatever. And so I didn't even know what that was. And so I remember him saying, "Wasn't your mom in the Busted paper?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, just these kids are horrible. So I ended up getting into an altercation. Mind just a boy. So that was just weird to me in general because I didn't expect like another young man to come at me like that. So it's just, when that happened, just back and forth with a lot of students and just even my friends, peers, things like that. It just was a shift because we were getting all this attention that was national, and jealousy arose and things like that. Like, "Oh, you think you're so good because you've been on TV or this or that." And I'm like, do y'all understand what my family's going through? And you think I'm excited about going on some TV show? Like, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how my grandfather just passed away. I'm thinking about how, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about how my mom is going through depression and I'm 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not thinking about going on TV. That's not a big deal to me. So it's just, but by the grace of God, he turns lemons always into lemonade. And so with all of that experience of dealing with TV shows and seeing behind the scene productions of huge national TV shows and just news channels and things like that, being able to be behind that, I got to get so much and just soak in so much information on how to run or broadcast a show. So that's what, honestly, that's why I feel like I've been blessed enough to have this position of being a producer. And I pray that it just expands and takes me somewhere further because, again, like, my mom, she got to expand. She got to take what happened to her and become a child advocate. You know what I'm saying? She has her show. She has so many, like, she just came back from Chattanooga, Tennessee, talking about the childhood
Sex
sex
trafficking,
trafficking.
right? Yes.
Yeah. So just the amount of just advocacy that she's been able to take from the horrible thing that happened to her and be able to be a voice for those who don't have one is just beautiful. It's amazing. And it trickled down to my sister and I. My sister, she has her degree. My sister, she went to college, you know what I'm saying? So, and then I went to private school. So it was a blessing, in disguise almost, you know what I mean? Being able to have all these new open doors and opportunities from something that was so horrible and just did our family so horrible. I'm now, living in the product of having these blessings that essentially came out of it. So yeah.
I love talking to you because there's an energy that young people have that it's infectious, and that teacher in me misses it. I
Oh,
do miss being around young people and the way you
yes,
talk and vibe and that.
yes, yes.
I love it.
That is so cool. I love that. I love that you said that. That's one thing I do miss about school. I don't miss everything, but what I do miss about school is because, like, just having a teacher that you vibed with, you know what I mean? Like, y'all do understand, but at the same time, I'm still fairly young. I still, remember being in school. You know what I'm saying? I'm only 22. So just being in school and in high school, and even when I went to college for a bit, being in school and just having a teacher or a professor that truly just seen something in you or wanted to see you do your best. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys really were impactful. You know what I mean? Like, I remember specific teachers to this day that I could just, I would love to be able to tell them thank you. I remember when you said this. I remember when you said that. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because, granted, yes, there are those good teachers, but there's also those teachers who, you know what I mean?
Why are you teaching? Why are you here?
Yes, because we do again have impressionable minds. And when I was going through all that, some of the teachers would say certain things to me as a child. So it's just like, you got to watch what you say, because that stuff will stick with that child for the rest of their lives. I remember a teacher and my principal, I don't know if we were just, I don't know what was going on that day, but in the classroom, they were going about, picking different students. This was after all that stuff had happened. They were asking us, where do you see yourself going? What do you see about yourself? And then they would tell us what they saw within us. And I remember specifically, my teacher said, oh, you're a follower. You're not gonna, you don't have a mind of your own. You won't really expand that much because you do what everybody else is doing. But it's so funny because I mean, no disrespect to my old classmates, but I look at my old classmates and I see where they are and I see where I am and where I'm going, because I definitely have a plan. So it's so
That's right. That's right.
I just feel so blessed, and I am huge. I believe in God wholeheartedly. I believe in Jesus. So I know that, God has this huge plan for my life, and I'm so excited to see where it goes, man. I'm so excited.
And you claim that Jeremiah 29:11 over
right?
your life.
I know the plans I have for you. Yes.
Plans. You claim that Romans 8:28. All things
work together for the good of those
who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Come on now.
I love the Bible.
Express what you just said. He takes lemons and turns them into lemonade.
That's right. He calls it.
That's what I started off saying. Like, this too shall pass. It's not always going to be like this. And just with the pandemic, that has had to really be something that I've reminded myself of whenever I start to feel like right now, like it's back to school, and I'm like somewhat hyped about it, but then it's like, what am I going to be doing this?
Yeah,
it's not the same. I want to be around. I would be shopping, getting stuff for my classroom. I still do my own back to school shopping, getting my gear right, because with kids, don't go in there looking crazy. They will tell you about yourself. Like,
I'm telling you, and it's just I will say, like, that is what I do miss about school, is like those teachers. I can tell, like, if you were my teacher, I probably would have been like, I love Mrs. Dukes, like she is the bomb. Like, I can tell, because again, like, it's just, you got to match some of these kids' energy. You know what I mean? And you were just saying that you see some of these kids have this vibrant energy, and just, you could tell that they want to do something. They want to hold on to something and move forward with it. And you could tell who has, certain children who just really do want to expand and grow. And so with that being said, with our minds still being impressionable, and you see that potential in that child, we see the potential in you as a teacher, because we know when y'all want to work with us. We know when y'all want to actually put the effort forth and deal with us when we have them extra questions if we don't understand. Because sometimes towards the end of my high school career, there were a lot of things I really just didn't understand, and I genuinely needed the extra help. So I knew teachers that I could go to and ask them for that extra help that would and be willing, and teachers that I'd be like, look, I just got to go to my other classmate and get the answers. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's hard, that's horrible to say, but it's the truth. So certain teachers, man, like, I can tell, like, you just got to be able to really, really pour out into these kids and pour life into these kids, because we soak it up like a sponge, and it's the truth.
And that energy is sad, because I just think And I see that a lot of teachers don't like that energy that particularly our Black and brown children bring. They're hype, they're banging on the desk, they're making beats, they're jumping rope, they're very creative,
Very,
like
very, very
act out and not act out, but act and very theatrical. Or we're making up song. Like that's beautiful. That's creativity,
right?
From the lens that some look at it with us. From others, it's like, sit down, be quiet, you're annoying, you're talking too much. And it's like, is she really, or is she just expressing who she is?
So that was another thing. They said I talk too much, that I talked a lot. And it's so funny because who knew that it would have been like used for me to, because mind you, with growing up with everything that happened with my mom and her being able to take us on, on some of these, endeavors that she had with different TV shows.
Yes.
There's nothing that's a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. So, so I knew it was God being so strategic because my sister's older. She never went with my mom. For some reason, they only ever had one kid go with her, and it was always me. I always went with my mom, whatever she was doing, wherever she was traveling, Connecticut, Chicago, wherever she was going, I went with her. So I knew that when they had interviews with me, I'm going to need to speak up. So all that talking I was doing in class paid off.
It was for a purpose.
That's right. Exactly. So that's why I was nervous to be on a show, but I'm used to it at the same time. Like, even though I am doing like background stuff, and I do like to do background, and I do like to do media production, I don't mind talking either, because I talk a lot. So I don't mind it.
Well, and you are engaging. Like, I'm enjoying speaking with you. It's just natural and real and transparent and refreshing. I think that's what's missing. We just need some more real talk, enough with the pretenses, just providing a space here for people to speak their truth, whatever that is. Let it out and know you can say it and be safe here in saying it. So thank you for that. What has the pandemic been like for you?
So
kind of shifting gears a little bit, because it's like we're talking about all this school and all this great, but it's like, yeah, we're inside basically. So what I know for me, okay, I'm older, so I relish being inside. It's not as difficult, and even for me it is still hard. And I think about, I have a 26-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 21-year-old, and they're out a lot. And I'm like, okay, I understand. I'm not condoning it. I don't agree with it. They don't live in our household. So it's kind of like, well, those are your decisions. But when people are like, oh, the kids are out, why don't they just stay in? Were you staying in when you were 21? Because I wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. It's so funny. Okay.
It wasn't a pandemic, but I think my parents would have been hard pressed to try to keep me inside.
That is so funny because okay, so first and foremost, I don't go nowhere. I don't go nowhere. I chill out at the house. I'm very much a homebody. I always kind of have been. When it was so okay. So when I was younger, it's weird. You would think it would be the opposite. When I was in middle school, I had these certain friends that were oh my goodness, we was together every weekend, every day. So we went to school together. So we would just stay the night at each other's house and go to school together the next morning. So middle school, my entire middle school career, I was gone. And so it probably don't sound too great. But my mom had a lot going on, so she wasn't really in her right mind anyway.
She needed support, and she was welcome for the support. Like, yes, help me.
Yes, and they did. A lot of people did step in and did. They were so generous to help my mom, my friends' parents, and things like that. So whenever she trusted them. It's not like we was just. You know what I mean? We were still 13.
Let's clarify. She didn't have her kids all over willy-nilly with everyone. Trusted people, members of the community. She would have her children stay there at certain times when they needed a break, and she needed a break. In case someone wants to try to run with that, don't do it.
No. I do actually want to clarify about that for a second. My mom did go through, she was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. That is what people who come from war get diagnosed with. So she did have depression and PTSD that she did struggle with after everything that happened. So there were times where we just wanted to give my mom a break. Me and my sister weren't wild. We didn't do nothing. Again, we didn't really go anywhere. But during that time of my life, I think the reason why I was with my friends so much and at their houses so much is because my mom was going through a lot, and she needed that help. She needed to be able to just have that weight off her shoulders to recuperate, because she was still working. She was still, you know what I mean? Like, she's a teacher. So, or a teacher's aide. But she still had to go to work and things like that. So it was just easier for her while she's going through all this, trying to take care of my grandmother who just lost her husband, trying to take care of 2 daughters by herself, because my mom is a single mother, trying to do all these things. It was easier for me and my sister to just stay the night at a friend's house for the weekend. So it was not like we was just out and about, just, no. That's not what I'm saying. And when I say my mom was in the right, I just meant that she was going through a lot at the time. I'm not saying my mom's crazy. No, that's not what I'm saying at all whatsoever. She is very much healed, and she has very much moved past from all of that. So I wanted to clarify about that.
Glad you did. And there's no shame. We want to get rid of the stigma and shame that is associated with people who go through tough times, people who are having challenges with mental health. If someone said to you, I have diabetes, you wouldn't shame them for it. So if someone says, oh, I have been diagnosed with PTSD, or I've been diagnosed with clinical depression, why do we feel the need to shame them or go into a whole long diatribe about, well, what's wrong and no. Their mental health is in need of some support. That's all. Right. And I know in the Black community particularly, that's the only one to speak about. There's still a lot of shame around mental health, not having conversations like, oh, we don't do that, we don't talk to people. It's like, well, yes, you need to talk to somebody.
So it's so prominent in the Black community where it's so just, like you said, shameful or looked down upon to be able to say that you need help. And I never understood that, because it's so easy for somebody in a different, race to be able to go to a therapist and spend, this time there to help themselves. But for us, that's, oh, you're considered crazy or, or mental. I don't agree with that. But so 100%, I do think it's still a stigma, and that needs to be corrected very quickly. Absolutely. But so during that time of my life, when I was younger, I was with friends more often. When I got to high school, as my mom was coming out of that and she was more healed, I started to be at home more because I wanted to be with my mom. Oh my gosh, like I wanted to be with my mom. Like, you could ask my mom, she is a hot mess, but I couldn't stand when I was a baby. Oh my gosh, nobody wanted to come get Jada, because Jada would just cry and cry and cry, because I wanted to be, I don't know why, I just wanted to be under my mom. So as I got older, I did still want to just be around her once that phase in my life of moving from middle school to high school, and my mom was coming out of her depression and things like that, and we were getting back, to our normal routine. I wanted to be home, and my sister wanted to be home. So as I got older, and with this pandemic even happening, that's just the person I just kind of always was. It was just, specifically that part of my life, I was not home as much. But now I like being at home. So so that's kind of like how I've been. But I will say, with the pandemic, back in December of 2019, I did move by myself to California at 21 years old. So I moved all the way across the country by myself in December 2019 because I wanted to start my own business. I have an uncle out there who does have his own business, and he wanted to show me the ropes of how to own a business, how to start a business. And my business
That's
is
what you're passionate about, owning.
Yes. Nice. I very much want to be an entrepreneur. My mom always taught me and my sister to just entrepreneurship. Like I always see my mom doing different things growing up, outside of all of the stuff that happened, just her being just her. I remember her, she would sell like Mary Kay and like, you know what I mean? Like, so she would do little stuff like that. And she taught me and my sister, as being a single mother, be your own boss, be an entrepreneur, own a business, be a CEO, you know what I'm saying? So she taught me and my sister that from a very early age. We always see my mom selling something or just starting her own business with something, because her father, my grandfather, the one who passed away, he had his own business. So it is very much in the family. So by the grace of God, I was blessed to be able to move to California in December of 2019, and I did begin my business. I still have it. I dabbled with it a little bit because due to the pandemic, I did have to move back home because that was the beginning, essentially the beginning of the pandemic was like January, February. And that's when like things were getting off the ground with my business. Cause my business is basically like computer based anyways. Okay, so I'll just tell you basically what I do. So my business, so I sell units, wig pieces, hair pieces, things like that. I sell lace front wigs, the ones that you see Beyonce and Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. I sell, yes, lace front wigs. And I personally, if I say so, I think my work is really, really good. I do personally customize lace front wigs. And so so with the pandemic, nobody was really thinking about buying wigs. They was thinking about buying toilet paper. So all the money was spent on toilet paper. So I had to come back home. But my mom, she is so wonderful. She always says that I have a place home. She always says that, she always has a place for me to come back home if I ever need to. My mom is amazing and I love her to death. So I did have to come back home, but I still do have my business. So if anybody wants to know about it, I do sell lace front wigs. If you guys know anybody who just wants their hair done, or even, because I will say I do want to help those who may have like cancer patients or people who deal with alopecia, anybody who has any type of scalp disorder where they cannot grow hair on their own, I would love to help because it is another option for you. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
How do they get in contact? That's amazing because a lot of people do have legitimate trouble growing hair. It's medical issue, whether it be from stress, hormonal issues. I have had issues with my health where I have lost hair, so I understand. And I wore a wig for, there was a good like six months about 2 years ago where I was wearing a wig because I had also like right in the temples of my hair and around the edges because of a thyroid condition.
Wow.
And so it caused me to lose hair, have brittle nails, a lot of things. And so I can really identify with what you're saying, and there was a like, if you don't wear wigs, you're like, I don't want to be look crazy. I want it to look,
And that's another thing I was gonna say. Yeah, it's huge in in the community with women. That's a big part of our beauty is our hair. So especially Black women. So with that being said,
our hair is so politicized as well. Where there's laws about our hair and whether you can wear locks or not, or your hair is like, I've been told I had locks for a time. I've had, I'm a Black woman. I've had a lot of different hairstyles, always switching it up. And it was like, your hair is, what's the term? Like offensive or militant. I'm like, my hair is militant?
That does not make sense. I've never understood that. Never understood that. And a thing I also hated growing up, because mind you, with everything that did happen, my mom was able to send me specifically, because my sister and I went to different schools eventually, as time went on. I went to predominantly white schools. So the question for me was, why is your hair like that? Why is it curly? Why? Now, another question that was crazy to me was, why is it long? My natural hair obviously doesn't, but my natural hair is fairly long. And so they would just ask me so many questions like, well, why is it long? So with that being said, I do want to plug.
Can I touch your hair? Have you gotten that?
Oh my goodness, please don't touch me. Please don't touch my hair. Please do not. And I wanted to say you have beautiful hair. I love your color. I love your curl pattern. I love it.
Thank you, darling. It's growing out. I haven't done anything like with it. I'm like no heat, nothing like that since March.
Wow.
So it's gotten really thick. I just like to feel it. Like it feels really thick and healthy. Beautiful. The blonde is growing out, but I like it. Thank you for affirming that. Thank you.
Of course, it's gorgeous. And that's what I was going to say. Like, even with wigs, it doesn't always mean that you're trying to hide something. Me personally, I still wear wigs, even with me having long hair, I still wear wigs because it grows it out even more. Like it's a protective style. This is a protective style.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, a protective style in the African American community is basically a style that protects your natural hair as you let it grow out. And so with that being said, like a wig is also a protective style. We braid it underneath and you put the wig on. So, unless, obviously, unless you have other issues, it's usually just braided up underneath. Right. So with that being said, it can also help grow your hair out if you are trying to grow it. It doesn't always just have to be, you trying to hide anything or anything like that. Right. It can also just be for your own natural hair growth and health. So,
yes.
So yeah.
That's so wonderful. So how could someone get in contact with you if they want to look further into your units?
So I want to see if I can actually put my name like
yes.
right here, because I have an Instagram.
Go ahead.
So my Instagram is.
We support the young people here at Speak Your Truth. We support entrepreneurship. We support the ideas and the dreams and the goals of our young people, most definitely.
Thank you. So my Instagram is Beloved Bundles Co. Underscore Co. So so beloved, like dearly beloved. So beloved, and then bundles underscore CO. So that is my Instagram. If anybody wants to get in contact with me, I am still taking orders right now, and it's honestly, it's fun. It's therapeutic. I love doing it. I love it. So.
That's so good, Jada.
Thank you so much. I never even told you this. I just realized I've never told you.
I'm about to follow you on IG now. I didn't know that you even did that. I'm just always complimenting you on your hair. Even tonight, I was like, oh, got your braids done. They look really nice.
Yes. And my sister did these. And I would love to plug her too. I don't know if she wants me to plug her because she's like, I'll do hair sometimes. But she did do these, and I love them. I think they look pretty good for somebody who does not do hair, mind you. She is.
I turn to the side. Let's see. Yes, very neat, like the part.
So she's very much making sure that it looks decent or good. Now she did do bigger parts is because I asked her for bigger parts. I didn't want super tiny braids all over my head. It would take too long to take down. But yeah, so my sister does do hair as well. I mean, I could just throw out her name. Her name is Kayla Bollard. Hold on, let me see if I have anything. I'm gonna just plug her real quick. She won't mind.
Please do. Your mom does wonderful work with the National Parents Union, as do you. And I think it's only right that we support our own. Support always needs to start from within.
Yes. Actually, if you want to get in contact with my sister, just contact me. And
okay.
I'll do it like that. That way she can't be like, why'd you,
Beloved underscore bundles underscore co. C-O.
No, Beloved Bundles, one word, underscore co.
Beloved Bundles, one word, underscore co. That's on Instagram.
Yes.
Got it, everyone? Please support Jada, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, are you interested in media? Is that what you're going to be doing? Like, because you're doing it now. What does the future hold for you?
So I am, honestly, I really, really am interested in expanding with media production, broadcasting, things like that, just because, again, like I said, growing up and going with my mom all those different places, I got to see that all the time. And to me, it was fascinating to see that, and just see a production come together, you know what I mean? So I would absolutely love to just move forward. And obviously, I'm starting off with Zoom meetings, but I believe that it can open the door to many more opportunities, from Zoom meetings to, broadcasting USA Today, you know what I mean? So you never know.
I put it out there. That's right. Yeah. It's so big. Like, look how much Zoom's been around for a while. I knew about Zoom for a while. And then the pandemic, like, Zoom took off, and really they're the trendsetters in this whole thing. So I do agree with you. I think there will be a lot more opportunities for production that stem from even something as simple as Zoom. Because Zoom is not easy. It's not like you just log in. There's lots of different things to do when you're the producer.
Yes, there are a lot of different avenues. Like, there's so many different things that you can do with Zoom that, like, I'm excited to even just learn more about it while I'm, doing it, because me and one of the, Natasha, one of our executive producers, we go through like all the different like things that we haven't even tried yet, like with Zoom, and like different things that we could do and different ways we could set up different meetings and webinars. So, so I'm excited to see where it goes, and I would be more than willing to, eventually branch out or even possibly even grow in the company in general, because I love National Parents Union. Oh my goodness. Like the fact that you guys blessed me with this opportunity, I never want to turn away. You know what I mean? Like I always want to have a connection to National Parents Union in some way, somehow, because you guys blessed me with this. And so I always want to give back, you know what I mean? Or just continue to work with. So yeah.
And we're blessed to have you, honestly.
You guys are amazing.
It's very personable, and I enjoy just how you have a balance of professionalism.
Thank you.
At the same time, you know how to have fun, and I think that balance is necessary. Everything can't just be work, 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 work. I would hate to log on 15 minutes early to someone who's like, "Okay, Vivett, we need to do it." Like, what? No.
I know, and it's so funny because all of us will just like while we're getting started, even with like, you know, the guests that are in the waiting room and they just listen to us have a conversation. You like, I can tell that they probably would think that we all knew each other for a long time. You know what I mean? Like they probably thought like, oh, they've been working together for years. Like like you said, like we just got to know each other over the past couple of months and it feels like a big family here. And so I'm just, again, like I'm so grateful and thankful for the people that I have met. Cause again, you guys, it's all about, you know, networking and connections, but at the same time, it's about making good impressions and making those impressions that last forever. You know what I mean? Those connections that last a long time, because you never know who you may need in a future date of your life. You know what I mean? You never know who you may want to call up and be like, hey, you remember when we did this together? Do you want to collaborate on this? Like you have no idea. And so all the people that I meet from your shows and from you know, Mary Soul show, like everyone's different. Even my mom, she has the actor, the gentleman from The Walking Dead on her show. And so it's just like, it's mind blowing to have, and even Little Woman, what, Atlanta or LA, one of the two, but these connections really do bring about greatness, you know, with your own plans in your own life. And again, I'm so blessed, especially like, you know, being able to talk to you and just learn from you, because you carry yourself so well and you are extremely professional. Yes, you know how to have fun and laugh, but I can tell that you have a mission and you're going to accomplish what you're here to do. And I see that when I'm speaking to you, and I respect it, and I want to, you know, I want to accomplish that as well. I want to have that same vibe that comes off the people, that people see a mission within me and that I plan on, you know, bringing it to pass. So yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, that's why we have to pour into our children. For all those who are watching, it's important that we pour into our children.
Right.
I'm going to say that again, because the National Parents Union is about our children, making sure that they have what they need by any means necessary. Because if we're not pouring into our children, then what are we really doing?
Right.
You know, it's a very, very important that our children have exposure. I would advise everyone, you have time, go back and look through the shows. The National Parents Union has a lot of content. We're streaming shows multiple times a day. We've been doing this for months. There's hours and hundreds, if not thousands of hours worth of content. People from all walks of life. If you have any questions or concerns, things that you want, not just in the realm of education, just in general, I think we're just providing a really wonderful, free, public broadcasting, you know, and I think that this is going to be such a great resume builder for you.
Yes. Oh, for me. Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you.
I see that. I see that for you, you know, and your drive and your tenacity. And, you know, it's important we speak life into our children because they're going through a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, listen to what you just said. I moved out, I was starting my new business, left the nest, moved all the way to Cali just to have to come back. Yeah. Those things can be devastating. Something like that could really shake a person's foundation, especially at a young age. Like, man,
I honestly wasn't planning on returning home. Yes. You know, the goal was to establish myself so well to where I can move out. And because mind you, I'm still, you know, essentially I was still living with my uncle, you know, because he was the one who was leading me on he was basically building me up to be able to be on my own with my business. Yes. And so, you know, I was ready to live on my own. I was ready to, truly be on my own, and so it was a setback. But honestly, if it would have never happened, if I would have still been in California, I would have never had this opportunity. And that's why I always go back to say that he causes everything to work for the good of those who love him. Because if I would have never came back home, I would have never knew about this, and I would have never had this opportunity. So I'm grateful that it happened. I'm thankful.
You've met John, but you and John got to talk, because you talk the same talk. He's everything's working out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Even when it doesn't look like it is, it is. That's the trust. That's the faith part. That's the hard part. But it is working out,
That's right. Oh, I can see, that's a whole nother thing. I can go into some just talking about faith in the Lord. Like, I can talk about that for hours.
It's refreshing to see a young woman, a young Black woman, not to unabashedly say, yes, I am a young woman of faith. Yes, I believe in God. Yes, I know he's ordering my steps. Yes, this is what guides me. I have a moral compass that is very much intact. And I have to salute your family for that, because they're the ones who instill that in you.
Yes.
So
The first time I really learned about that was when my mom ended up sending me to the school that I went to after I left Copley. After I left the school, I went to a regular public school for like a year for 5th grade, but middle school wasn't Catholic. It was a Christian middle school. Now it was private, but granted, it was small at the time. They were still expanding. So we were in the basement of an old church, but it was all right. It was still a private school. And so we had, they didn't call it theology because, like I said, it was a small, private school that they were trying to build. So we had Bible class. It wasn't theology yet, because when I went to high school, I went to a Catholic high school, they call it theology.
Yeah.
But it was Bible class, and my teacher was Miss Jackson, and I love Miss Jackson, and I'm always promote Miss Jackson because she planted that seed, and I will never forget that seed that was planted, because we had worship on Wednesdays. Like, it was a whole ordeal. It was every day, but they was like, you know what, some parents don't really like that, so they had to move it to just Wednesdays. But it definitely planted the seed of my faith, and ever since then, like, it just honestly has been watered by so many different people that I've come in contact with. And so it's so funny because God is so strategic. So many people that I've met, like even my uncle, like moving to California, my mom, she was like, first thing I'm gonna tell you is, if you really gonna move out there, you moving with this man, just know you going to church every Sunday and you going to Bible study every Wednesday. Because here at home, they a little bit more lax. My mom does go to church, my grandma goes to church, but it's not every Sunday. You know what I mean?
Take off a week. No one's gonna be like, what are you doing?
Right. So so with him, that wasn't that. So God is so strategic. The time I spent out there, and I don't want to get too into it because I know that, but the time even that I just spent out there it built my faith to just, I don't even know how to explain how broad and just how much it got expanded on, and how much knowledge that I now have of the Bible because of the time that I spent in those little bit, that 6 months that I spent in California was nothing but the Lord just speaking to me and talking to me and instilling things in me. And I honestly think that's why I am here. I do have this position. I do have opportunities that have been coming my way. It's because I now have my own personal relationship with God, where, I talk to him and he talked to me. So, you know what I'm saying? But
it's important you bring this up because, we're doing a lot with homeschooling here at the National Parents Union. There's actually a grant that's being offered. So look at it on the website for more information. The deadline is your grant application must be submitted according to the parameters of the grant no later than this Saturday, April 15th at 11:15 p.m. Yeah. August 15th. Thank you at 11:59 p.m. And part of the homeschooling, as I've been doing more research about it, is really parents wanting to shelter their child a bit. Keep them home. I need to instill you with our values, our norms, what we hold dear and true before we release you initially or back into the world, into the care of who others are going to be now teaching you. And I think there's something to that. That was homeschool was always the original schooling plan to begin with. Just like you said, if it wasn't home, it was in the church, in the schoolroom, where we learn together. And there is something about that, at every stage of our lives. There's learning that takes place at home.
That's right.
With our family, with our community. There are things that outsiders can't teach you the same way, might not even know to teach you that because they're not of you in that same way. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And whether it's studying the Bible, if you're not of a Christian faith, whatever it is, if you want your child to learn deeply about meditation and breathing practices, just a way to create your own curriculum. What is it that I want my child to really be infused with? Because the world outside is going to give them a lot that you might not want your child to have, to be honest with you.
That's right.
So I'm really happy to hear that you have a solid foundation, because you've been through some things in your life already, and you're going to go through more things in life.
Yeah.
There's no way, around it.
Man. Yeah, that's true.
You have your faith and you are grounded and you're solid. And as your mom said, you have a home. You can always come back home.
Yeah.
That right there is golden.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's golden.
I know, and that's what hurt again. Like, my grandfather was huge, you know what I mean? Like, just to have somebody like that taken away when I was, in my opinion, so young, because I still have my dad's father, and my dad's father's in his 80s. You know what I mean? So for me to be 11 and my grandfather was in, I think, like his 60s to be taken, you know what I mean? Like, that just.
That's retirement age. He was a young man still, in his early to mid 60s. By no means was that place, incarceration did that to him. It wasn't him. It was health and not being taken care of in there.
That's right. So he also instilled that within her. So that's why I was mentioning, because he always told my mom. That's why, because mind you, the house that they lived in, he built that house. He owned that land. It's not like they bought it. They went and bought a house no, that was his home. That was his land. You know what I mean? So
there's a lot of you have a rich history, because for a Black man to own land and build a house on that land in Ohio. Come on.
I'm telling you.
That's serious.
Yes, it is. It really, really is. And so that's why when I just go back and just be like, that's my life, you know what I mean? It just honestly, sometimes it shakes me, because I'm like, wow, like, I really do come from great people. You know what I mean? Like, I come from some great people. And yeah, so my grandfather, when he built that home, he made sure there were more than enough rooms in the house, because he told my mom, you always have a home here. And so my mom told that to me, she tells me whenever I go out and venture, she tells me, you always have a home here, no matter what happens to you. And so that's what I'm gonna tell my kids whenever I have them, because I don't have any kids.
Let's clear that up.
But so I love that, and I believe that's a beautiful generational blessing. Yes. People talk a lot about generational curses. I think that's a blessing.
Yes.
I can't wait to move forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been just uplifting. It's been wonderful to have you on, Jada. I'll see you again on Thursday, all going well, but I've enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for sharing. Thank you to our viewers who come faithfully twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays at 7:30 Eastern Time, for the National Parents Union presents Speak Your Truth. We're leaving for now, but we'll be back. And we hope that in the time from now until when we meet again, that you are well, that you are in good spirits. If you need help, please reach out for help. Contact Vivett at National Parents and NP Union. Is that how it is? Is that the address?
Yes.
Vivett at npunion.org. There is help available to you. If I can try to connect you with who needs it. Just know that you have a support. Everyone might not have that solid family the way, Jada spoke about tonight, but there are people in the world that care about you. And sometimes help comes from where you would least expect it to come from. You just have to just speak your truth. Just say what you need. Resist that urge to be ashamed or I don't want to tell anyone, or that. No, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Say what you need, and the help is gonna come. Because closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right. That's what happened to me. I wasn't expecting this. My mom, she told me, she said, I got a job for you. So, you know what I mean? So believe what, Vivett is saying, Miss Dukes. I try to be respectful, but okay. believe what she's saying. If you guys need to reach out, it's the same thing for mine. Is jada@mpunion.org. Org.
Yes, org. Uh-huh.
jada@mpunion.org. So if you guys need to reach out to either one of us, please feel free to do so.
Thank you, Jada. Have a
Thank
good
you so
night.
much.
You're welcome.
Bye. Hold on, let me pull myself out.
Right.
I'm usually in the background doing all this. 1 second.
I know, right? Good night, everyone. That was so good. Yay.
That was amazing. Hold on, I'll come back.